You're going to remember this every day for the rest of your life. If you want to get to a goal, if you want to get to your dream, you got to focus on all the little steps. You have to put in your time. You have to be patient and you have to enjoy the process. Whatever you're doing now, whatever you want to be great at, whatever you want to be special at, I'm sure you maybe already be good at it, but to be extraordinary, you have to do extra. I firmly believe that we are all here for a very specific reason, to do something truly extraordinary. But what are you going to do to get there?
Welcome to the show, Tom. This is an absolute gift. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. We did it one time. It was an abbreviated version, or as a quick episode. But we want to check in to see how you're doing. So talk to me. How's life?
Life is going well, bro. Life is going well. How's everything with you?
Yeah.
How's Miami?
Everything's good, man. Miami is it's insane. Miami's insane. It's a great place. I have no complaints at all. No complaints. And you are a dad now, correct? You have two little ones. What's that like?
Dad of two. It's insane. Definitely something that I never thought would accumulate in the period. I would say that the timing of things, I never thought. I mean, talk about like playing sports and having time management. Man, being a parent is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother game.
What's the most challenging thing as of right now, being a parent?
Just like life, man. It's anything can happen at any moment. You know, like right now, my youngest daughter, she's, say she's 15 months, 16 months, walking around, sprinting around like somebody has to watch her like a hawk all day long. She can, she was going to stick her finger in the outlet or climb up the stairs or fall down the stairs or eat a piece of dirt off the ground. But I guess the hardest thing to do as a parent is like just let them be, but it's been an exciting time. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
I've truly enjoyed it.
I'm so happy for you. And your business, today's business, tell us about today's business. I know today's business because of you, Tom. You worked incredibly hard to create today's business. You have an awesome team. But just tell the audience a little bit about today's business, and then we'll get into the history of it. So what's the primary function of today's business?
Full service digital marketing agency. But I would like to say we're probably one of the most we're like the piece of the puzzle for a team, like whatever it might be. So we're the guys that try to figure it out, but also execute upon it in like a high level professional manner. And I felt as if like we, over the last 10 years of being in business, it has evolved to this where we're a true like marketing partner for like any company. If it's a fit amongst us and it fits like our mentality and the client believes in what we can do and believes that we can deliver it, usually it's a perfect fit. So I would say we're like a perfect marketing partner for, all shapes and sizes of businesses.
Understood. And today's business is how old?
10 years, man. 10 years next month.
10 years.
10 years, man. It's crazy. Remember 10 years, 11 years ago, you were training me for the NFL Combine.
I remember. I was telling that story this week to a younger body architect, and they didn't understand it. It's hard to tell that story. We're obviously major characters in that story, but it's hard to tell that story and have people understand what was accomplished specifically by you. You really did something extraordinary that most people only dream of, but that's because of your hard work. And the reason why I was so excited to have you on the show is because you take all of that hard work and put it into what you do today. And that's the human you are, and I understand that, but most people won't understand that. I feel like that was a pivotal moment for you. What do you think?
Changed my life. So I tell you that every day. Why do you think I tell you this every morning when we're texting at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, because we're the only humans that are up. You changed my life in so many ways, but I know it takes so many aspects of it. But I mean, you don't understand being put in a position, like, as you know, like, I mean, you went to Richmond, so we were in the same league at, like, coming from a small school, like, being somebody completely out of left field. I had no idea what to expect. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for you and, like, the environment that I was in, I probably would never be the person I am right now.
Well,
Like,
that's saying a lot.
coming to Miami changed my life. Like, changed my life. Coming to my North Miami and going to Peak Spot and Bomberitos by far changed my life. More, like, importantly now, like, it showed me. I mean, the best part about it is, like, honestly, like, what really made my life. Obviously, we could talk about us doing business together, Chris, like, everybody that we work with. Like, I learned because I saw, like, every big time agent, like, sitting outside this facility, learning what they were doing, how they were making guys sign contracts, how they were working with brands, how they communicated with people. I saw firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had that experience if I didn't if I didn't have the opportunity to be in that position.
Right.
And not everybody does know that. They just think they have to go, like, they don't realize that, those are the things you have to do. But yeah, obviously, like, hard work and, all that stuff, you can check off the boxes, but man, it's about the environment and the people you surround yourself with. Literally.
Oh, absolutely. And it's been 10 years, and the people that I know that have had any sort of success in any industry, they say it usually takes 10 years just to build a solid foundation. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think 10 years is the biggest evaluation point in, like, any portion of, like, your life. Doing something that long consistently, it's either time for a change, or, how do you level up, or how do you, become more optimal?
Mm-hmm.
That's really, like, the three options you have. It's not anything after that. So if some people do that every year. Personally, I think sometimes, especially in business, I think that's too short.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you have to be ready for a global pandemic, to be able to change it at, like, a drop of a dime. But, in business, things take time, especially when you have teams. Like, more than anybody, you're the biggest team player that there is. You build team culture like it's like nobody else does it like you do. Like,
appreciate that.
People don't realize, but seriously, people don't realize when you're operating a team, like, if you change your team's mentality every single day, they're not going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you stay at it every day and you knock at it every day, it's, eventually they're going to become successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, speak to us about you're in business 10 years, and I know you've been through ups and downs, and we could talk for hours, probably days, on what you've been through, and it's been a wild ride. But what's the one thing or one venture within your business that you did that actually surprised you? What's one thing that you were able to accomplish with your business that actually surprised you? And I know you're a hard worker, and your results are a byproduct of who you are, but has there been anything that's been a surprise that you said, I can't believe we did that?
Well, to be honest with you, I try to look at those as, kind of like milestones, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
So I look over the 10 years, I probably had like 100 of those moments, but, like, the most pivotal moments that, like, say, like, hey, this is why, like, we're here. Holy crap. I can't believe we're here. But honestly, it's my clients. I mean, I like, right now, I would say that we are finally at a point where, like, our clients that, like, work with us and believe in us and are with us are with us because, like, they truly believe who we are, and they believe in what we do, and they allow us to be who we are. Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found a core group of clientele that allowed, like, my team members, right, the people that work with me, like, that are, like, more product driven. Like me, I'm more like client relationship driven, right? Like, I'm handling, like, that aspect and also bringing on new business. But, like, the people that handle the product of my company, like of our company, like my team members that handle the product, like, when our clients say whatever, like, hey, listen, we're going to do whatever you guys tell us to do. That's the most accomplished I can ever feel in this business.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
You know, it's the same thing in personal training. Like, you know, when you are training, like what do you have? 20 people you still train for the last 20 years that like literally will do and live and die, me being one of them, of whatever you say. Like that's the most optimal thing that can ever happen in a business world.
Oh yeah, and it's
You
the
know,
biggest compliment, and it takes so much time though. It takes
it
so
does
much
take
time.
some
And
consistency.
yeah, it's consistency, but and then there's also a piece of like the business, for example. If you look at what I do, there's a piece that is kind of like a myth, right? Like it's train people, change lives, massive transformations, and it happens 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but there's a lot of things that don't happen, or relevant or substantial things that don't happen for years into the field. And the bonds and connections and friendships I've formed with many of my clients has been something truly extraordinary. And I always say that they're training me. I know it sounds funny and cliche, but they're helping me so much with so many things, and they're so smart. It's a truly a blessing. But within your industry, what's a common myth about what you do? Like what is something that people take for granted in your field, or a common myth, I guess?
What? Same thing in your field. People are full of shit. Like, but seriously.
But you're saying clients or people
no,
who want to do
I'm
the
talking
work?
I'm talking about the competition, right? Like our competition. Like, I'm like, maybe don't get me wrong. Like, I'll be the first person to admit, maybe back in 5, 6, I mean 2 to 3 years ago, like there were some things I might have overpromised and underdelivered, right? But like I learned and I fixed those methods. But you know why? Like I saw more and more as the more prominent you got in clientele, right? Like for us, like I mean, we work with Netflix, right? Like I can't deliver shit to Netflix.
That's a huge account. Congratulations, by the way.
But it's regardless. Like it doesn't matter who it is. Like we don't want to deliver. Like now our method out. Like we're delivering a product that we are so proud of, no matter what we do. And it's going, like we put our heart and soul. Like some things don't work, but most of the time they're going to work because we we live in a world of analytics that we could tweak a couple things and it can be a home run. And then you have a lot of failures, but like honestly, like cutting out the bullshitters. There's a lot of companies a lot of companies that are in my industry say they can do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really like, the what is that saying? The master of all jack of all trades, and that's enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I always get nervous because we are like, people ask me like what we do. Like we have literally 8 different departments in my small 35 person company.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a lot. But like, to be honest with you, we spent some time over the years becoming really good at those 8 departments. And equally, like, I'm proud to say that we are really good at those 8 departments. I'm not saying that we are the best for anyone individually, but we are probably the most well-versed, most well-rounded group of individuals in like multiple channels of digital marketing, which I really don't know if there's many people out there that do that.
Well, let's talk about that. How do you find these team members? Because you have a great team. I know many of them. They're awesome human beings. They're hard workers. How do you find your team members?
Honestly, we're very fortunate to build a lot of our team members. My partner Billy on the digital marketing side, he's the guru, right? Like he's the person that every single person like wants to learn from. And we were very fortunate enough that once we figured out how to channel his his thoughts and his methodology towards like a strategy through processes, which spent a lot of time, took almost 10 years to be able to do that. It's been great to see a lot of the people that we've been working with. The girl that runs my company, she was an intern 8 years ago.
Love that.
She's Chelsea. She's the EVP of like our whole entire business, and she was an intern creating content, like,
Mm-hmm.
from probably Mark Megna, like 8 years ago when we first started.
That's
Like
awesome.
that's the truth. And now, like, to see them, have the ability to, buy a house, like have a family, like, coming from a company that, like, we started with $400 above my dad's restaurant, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that, I take pride in. I take pride in that more than anything, honestly. Like, knowing that, like, I have, like, X amount of people on, like, I mean, our payroll is what it is, and I'm paying people the money that I'm getting to pay them, like, based on, like, what I did 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest accomplishment I can ever say, personally.
No, I love that. I love how people come up within the company, and you do such a great job there. What do you think is the biggest, I mean, I have my assumptions on this answer, but what is the biggest challenge that you have now? You're building a team. You're helping people rise within the ranks. Billy does a great job. What is the biggest challenge now? Because now it's cranking and it's going, but everyone thinks, when they say it looks easy, you make it look easy. That just because it looks easy doesn't mean it's easy. So, what is the biggest challenge for you right now?
Honestly, the biggest challenge I have right now, I would say, is trying to motivate people a different way, right? And that's what I mean by that. It's not motivate them, like, financially, motivate them, like, but I mean, me, I send a motivational quote every morning to my team.
Mm-hmm.
5 o'clock every morning, Monday through Friday, my team is getting a quote, right? Because not like anatomy, like, our team is working. They have a clock in and they clock out. Like, obviously, I know your team staff, like, might work Mondays and work Saturdays. So it's a different schedule.
Of course.
Predominantly 98% of all of my employees work within a certain time frame. So trying to keep them to a point where, like, for instance, like, I talked to my partner the other day, like, my business partner, I'm like, hey, I don't want to have, like, a holiday party, right?
Right.
I'm like, why don't we, like, we're in the process of doing a lot of different changes with our 10-year anniversary, and I can't wait to share them with everybody. I can't share it now, but, like, I was like, why don't we, spend X, Y, and Z and send everybody in our company this? Like, it's the same thing I just did 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that, instead of us, we were very, like, a Google-esque company. We had, like, the basketball hoop, the ping pong table, the beer keg, like, the whole nine. We every holiday party, we had a party. Every, like, event, we made it big, because that was who we are. That was, like, the culture we had, right? We were gonna be, like, the cool people.
Right.
Now it's not about being cool. Everybody's remote. I have employees in Chicago. I have employees in Atlanta. We have employees in Florida. Like, employees all over the country now. Now it's about, like, motivating them in different ways. So, I saw everybody, like, similar, like, I was like, I decided to give everybody in our company, an office upgrade stipend.
Oh, wow.
Like, just doing different things like that. That's personally, honestly, that's, like, what to do has been the most challenging, right? Like, we're in a position now, like, because if you don't do anything, you kind of put yourself in a position where, like, everybody gets stale, right? Like,
of course,
when we start doing stuff for the company, I get a sense that, like, my team starts sensing, like, hey, this company is, like, onto something. We're making progress. We're growing. Like, 2 years ago, last year, when the year, like, the world, like, stopped, like, that's the mentality everybody else had. Like, oh, we're gonna, like, kind of get a little lackadaisical. Me, I was like, fuck it. Like, how can we flourish? How can I change this? How can I come out of this different animals?
And you're an innovative thinker, and I know you're always trying to do push the envelope and do new and innovative things, and take it to the next level. And I think that actually stems from your experience with sports, and you're always trying to improve, and we'll always go back and reference your transformation. And I think what's really special about that is it shows you what's possible, and it shows you what's possible, and it kind of helps your mind pop, and you start to think and realize that there's a lot of things that are possible, a lot of things I can do out there. I just have to be willing to try and be willing to fail. And I know this is a conversation that's been had so many times, but I think it's an important one at that. You push the envelope, you're innovative, and I've always been really, really impressed with how you do things, and I really mean that. And this is a
But I learned
super.
from the best. I learned from the best. I mean, I got to see firsthand like all the most important people in my life, and like, you know, one of the pillars of my life is you. Like,
I appreciate
and
that very much.
but seriously, but I also come from an immigrant family. Like, my parents are immigrants. They came here with nothing. My dad literally doesn't speak English well. You know, how many times has he called you, say, Mark, whatever you fucking need? Like, and that's all he says to you. Like, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Like, I come from immigrant parents that they fought for their lives to be here. You know, like, I'll be the first person to tell you, like, I grew up, like, I didn't grow up in a poor neighborhood or anything of that nature whatsoever. I always adapted to everybody that did because I had the same mentality.
Right.
Like, we were hustlers. You know, like, every single one of my friends that came from a place that was completely opposite of me, we always got along, and you can ask them to this day that I'm still that same person, and they're still, like, it's because we had that same mentality. Like, my dad used to have me working every day. The only time my dad didn't have me working in that pizzeria is when he thought I can actually play college football. Like, my junior and senior year is like, you can play 3 sports in the summertime, you got to weight train. Like,
I love how he
that
adapted to that, though, Tom. I think that's wonderful how he adapted to that and figured out this is going to be a wonderful opportunity for my son.
Listen, he was introduced to a very smart man named Walter Sullivan that we both know very well.
Oh yeah, Walter Sullivan, legend.
And Walter Sullivan probably schooled my dad in more ways than he probably has been in you know, the 60 plus years he's been on this earth. And when he came here, like, Walter was like a grandfather to me too. So, like, obviously that's how we met. Nobody really knows about him. He's the secret legend of New Jersey. But
he is a legend. He's the weapon. The weapon.
He's a legend. He's a legend. A lot of them very important people in our lives. He's probably the most important person in their life. Because he's done a lot of great things for a lot of great people.
He certainly has. Certainly has.
My father, the same person as I am, is a person of his network, right, and his surroundings. Mm-hmm. So he always put himself in a position that, like, you know, he always said to me, like, you know, one guy told him if, you know, he wanted to make money in this road, coming from, you know, becoming a dishwasher to, you know, having a world, like, you know, a very world famous restaurant now, like, you want to be around money, you want to make money, you got to be around money. Yeah. First, you got to learn how to make it. Then you learn how to keep it.
But I think but I'm sorry to interrupt, Tom, but I think there's a bit important step there. Like, you got to be willing to put the effort in, put the time in. Like, that's something that we always talk about. Like, on this show, the people that are on this show, it's a common theme. It doesn't happen overnight. No one's coming to save you. You have to be willing to do the work. And I think you have to be very mindful and careful of not talking yourself out of the work. I think that's super important. And I've seen you do that. And, you know, kudos to you. But I think understanding consistency, hard work over an extended period of time is something that's real. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Listen, if you're not going to put in the work, there's no reason why to do anything. Like, if I know the biggest thing everybody always tells me, you know, oh, like, you were able to do this on your own, at 23 years old. Now you're 33. You have a business, blah blah. Like, I go back, like, I explained to him, like, listen, these were my competitive advantages, right? But this is what I had to do to get here.
Right.
I was like,
right.
We like, I know I lived at home. I had no college debt. I was able to do things. I was able to, you know, my parents gave us a small little office, a 200 square foot office. I was very, very put in a position to, like, you know, start off like any other person, like, getting working capital. Like, we never took $1 from anybody. We just utilized our network to be able to, like, offset some costs for us, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and that was the biggest thing. And I tell everybody, but nobody, like, my father, like anybody else that I knew, like, nobody made me go to, like, 9 meetings a day, like, meet with every mom, pop, restaurant, bar, and pizzeria in the tri-state area. Like, nobody did that. Nobody made us go
right.
7 days a week.
Right.
Like but at the same time, it's a lot different now because my priorities are different. I don't want to do that now because I have 2 kids and a wife and a family. But when I was 23, right out of college, fresh off getting cut from the New York Jets, I had no worries.
By the way, that's something we both have in common.
Exactly. Yours lasted a little bit longer than mine.
Yeah. So,
a little.
Tom, you have so many things going for you. You're a man of many talents, and I mean that. You're a great communicator. You're a caring human being. You're an extremely hard worker. You're a family man. Now, what do you think the most important characteristic would be to bring into your field? But what makes you a success? What is the most important thing to have? And I guess you could, not you. Let's talk about, like, what do you think? What do you need to bring to the table to have success in your field? What's the most important thing?
What did we just talk about? Consistency.
Consistency.
It really is. Like, it really truly is. Like, when you're consistent, whether I'm creating a graphic, or we're creating a social media post, or we're building a website, like, if the things that we do are consistent every single time, like, our clients are going to be leaving happy because, like, it's at a level we know, because we've also at the same time learned so much of, like, delivering a bad product. I deliver more bad product than good product, right? So, like, I'm at a point in my position where, like, anything we do now, it's going to be this way and this way only, because you know why? This way works.
Mm-hmm.
Until this way doesn't work, we won't change it.
Understood.
So, like, I think consistency and, like, in our line of work is the most, like, best way to go. Because, like, honestly, it's like, if people take their foot off the pedal on certain avenues, it goes in another world.
Right. And I guess you could answer this 2 ways. You are talking to your younger self starting off in your industry, or you're giving advice to someone starting off in your industry. They're going to take over the world. You're giving them advice. What do you think they need to hear? What's the most important message you need to communicate to them to ensure that they have success?
All right. Well, nowadays we deal with a lot of different personalities. I would say that whatever, like, telling somebody to go all out on something, right? Everybody has, like, you and I have a difference of opinion on how to go all out on something. Give everything you got.
Of course.
Right? Like, I would just say, don't take no for an answer. Like, in the beginning portion of, like, your business, when you're growing a business, like, you have to say yes to everything. And know as an individual, and I think this is the most important thing as an entrepreneur, right? There's a difference between entrepreneurs and leaders, right?
Oh yeah,
there's difference between leaders. There's difference between entrepreneurs and CEOs. I'll be the first person to tell you, I am not the best CEO for today's business, but I am the CEO for today's business at this very moment.
Mm-hmm.
One day, hopefully, I will be the best leader to be able to develop the best CEO for today's business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that my point is right there. Know, as, like, a hungry entrepreneur, want to light the world on fire, know what your skill set is, and know what you are good at, and stick to that. Right. And if you're not good at something else, bring on somebody along that is really good at that, and be the best teammate you can possibly be.
Understood. I mean,
like, it's the best way to describe it. There's so many differences between, like, I hate the fact that everybody says, like, entrepreneur is a leader, or no, there's a difference. Not every entrepreneur is a CEO. Because you know what? You're either creative or you're an operations guy, or you're a salesperson.
But I think I think recently I talked, to a few people, and they talk about their path, their journey, and their rise, and being an entrepreneur. I mean, there's a lot of suffering in there. It's not like entrepreneurship is not fancy cars and private planes. It's paying yourself not that much money while you build, and that could take, 10 years, 15 years, maybe 20 years. And I don't think people associate today's version of entrepreneurship with what it really is. And obviously, because because of the social media trap, people are more interested in looking successful rather than being successful. And I know that's a big problem, but I think if you're paying attention and you're following people who have real results, not real Instagrams, I think
that's the world we live in.
Yeah, I know it is. No, but it is. But that's real. So I don't fault anyone for that. I don't, because that's what it is. What it is.
It's a world we live in. It's unfortunate. It's a world we live in. It's what they follow. It's what they see. I mean, I know people that are like known as like the best entrepreneurial like leaders of the nation, and on Instagram they have 500,000 followers or 1 million followers, and they're broke.
Right. Oh yeah. Of
course. I mean, we know all of those. We could talk about, but like at the end of the day, that's why it's more important. Like, for instance, we talked about like team building, right? Like in teams before, like how do you find the people? How do you build the people? Well, you know what? Like I ripped apart like my entire team, right? And I looked at, okay, who are the most successful people in this company and how long they've been here and why? I looked at it, they had so many similar characteristics, right? And a lot of them had to do with like working. Honestly, the most successful people I have at my company all had either played a sport or had a college job.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Right.
Interesting. So you think that Tom, that plays to the fact that they understand team, or just the structure or that environment?
I think they're open to working and understanding and learning. Right. Like, okay. And I dove into another level. I found out how many people went to college that hadn't paid college, but I know all my employees that, like, just basically doing some surveys, like how many went to college, obviously had to take on college loans, but like worked to pay for college. Like that's a big characteristic. Like those are the type of people like I want to build around.
Understood.
Right. Like, because you know what, that's the type of people like that fit our mentality. So like if I start from that way, right? Like now I go to myself, okay, if I lay out this criteria of person, like I can help these people like change their perspective on what success is. like we now that we have we have a path to success with like, if you start in our company making, 30,000, like I have people in my company, I have multiple people in my company make over 6 figures.
Wow.
Right? Like, that's a big thing for a small company.
Big thing.
And it's just one of those things. So like, it's just different criteria. I can talk about all day.
Of course. If you're with me, I can reference 2-3 people in my life that have been super impactful. I mean, they've left an imprint on me, and the things. And by the way, I don't always have to like them. Like they've been mentor-ish to me, and they've taught me so many great lessons, and it's really changed my trajectory in a good way. Who would that be for you? Who's a mentor for you that you really learned a great deal from?
I mean, my father is the ultimate.
You're
fortunate enough.
Such a hard worker your father is. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're talking of a guy who fucking checked every box of the American dream you can imagine.
Unbelievable.
Like, whatever American dream is to anybody, like, I could tell you from a guy that came here at 16 years old with 10 cents, like, not just joking around, like 10 cents in his pocket by himself, like, no family, no money, no nothing, like, to get his son to Miami to train with the best people in the world, because that's why I got there. I got there because my dad got me there. Like, I didn't get there because I was good enough. You saw that. I was on the other side of the field. That's why we became close.
I know.
I'm just saying, I didn't get there because I got there because, you know what, my dad wrote a check to get me there, and he had a network to get me there. But like having a guy come from Naples, Italy, to have his son go train with 30 professional athletes and shit. Like, like that's what it's all about. Like, how can I not like say that's my biggest my biggest mentor? Like, the guy went against all odds and shut it all down. To be honest with you now is I want to, make sure that gets carried out forever. Like, I'm very, my dad puts a lot of faith in me on like running a lot of the family stuff now. And he kind of takes a little bit more of a back seat. And kind of gave me the keys to be able to drive some of that stuff. Not the family restaurant business. That's my little brother's, but more like, our family business stuff, like his real estate and everything like that. And he introduced me very strategically to a lot of people that I like, he's my biggest mentor, but like, Mark, how I operate, like, we're a resource for each other, right?
Of
like
course.
we're best friends, we're brothers, like we're business associates, but like we're resources. But you're one of my resources. Like, you're one of my resources. Like, when I know we need to do something, you and I know we need to talk to each other. Like, and the same thing, I have like the 3 other people that I really like. I would say are my mentors. But like, my dad is definitely the most impactful person in my life. Like, without a doubt.
He's an incredible man. Please pass a hello, by the way. Tell him on my to-do list is come up there and have a unbelievable meal, because my mouth waters every time I see the Instagram. It's quite annoying.
Well, now you have all these customers come down to you now too.
So many customers.
All those customers.
That couple that came in recently, they said, the guy that owns your family restaurant, which is, he was talking about your dad sent that couple down and they joined. I thought that was incredible. He said the first stop you need to make in Miami is go to Anatomy and join Anatomy. And then when I met the couple, they said, we literally got off the plane, stopped here, and just joined. And I thought it was hilarious because they were just checking it out, but they said, you know what, we're going to join. it was great. So we owe you.
How many people over the years?
I owe your dad many.
No, but how funny is over the years? Like, one of our obviously Mark Roberts. Like, literally sitting there, he's like, looks at me and goes, "You're Joe Calabria's son." I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah.
In the middle of when we were working out, I'm like, "Yeah."
That is
so
great.
It's,
that is great.
No, it's great.
Mark Roberts in the basketball uni.
Oh my God! But there has to be a whole nother set. You have to get him on the show.
Oh, believe me, he's coming. I've told him like a while back he couldn't do it, and he said he wanted to do it now. So I'm excited to have him. He tells a great story, man, and he's got a very interesting journey.
He's unbelievable.
So Tom, you're a father. You have 2 kids, married. You have a lot of responsibilities, running this business, very successful. Do you have any sort of productivity hacks that you're like, hey, you got to do this? Like, I remember we talked about your scheduling, and there's just so many things that can help you save an extra few minutes in the day. That's super important, super impactful. Do you have any productivity hacks that you can pass on?
Wake up earlier.
Wake up earlier, but you got to go to bed early too.
You got to go to bed early. You got to go to bed earlier. You have to be disciplined in that standpoint. Like, that's what people don't understand. Like, they can't, like, people want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to work out, but you can't go to bed at 1. Like,
exactly.
So like, waking up earlier has been probably the most. I asked you want to give me like what made me most successful is I got up before anybody else did. I got up because I was going to email that motherfucker. Excuse my language, but I was going to email that person before that the competition was going to email them. Because that competition was going to send them like the normal email at like 9 o'clock with a smiley face, and I was going to email them like a broken English email address at 3:30 in the morning saying, "Hey, we're the best team to do this because I'm going to give everything I got."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you taught me that. Get up before the competition, not get up just to get up and like actually do something. Like, personally, I like to wake up at 3:45, 4 o'clock, and then go work out. That's my personal thing. I need to start my day with a workout. Mark making a workout.
It just gets you. It just gets you going, and I think there is something to that. Like, listen,
7 days a week, though. It's our life, though.
It's a lifestyle, but let me just clarify, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. You do not need to get up at 3:30 in the morning. You don't need to get up at
No.
4 in the morning.
No.
You don't need to get up at 5, 6, or 7 in the morning. Getting up early does not make you a success. I know that. I'm aware of that. Do you agree, Tom?
1,000%. I agree with you 1,000%.
It's
And
true.
I'm just bringing it up in a context like of that aspect.
I know.
Like that way.
I know.
What's been made me very successful is I got up before everybody. I started my day before everybody. Everybody was like, I was in the office before everybody. Not because I was in the office just to say I was in the office. No, I got more shit. I get more shit done between the hours of 4:30 and 8:30 than more people get done in an entire week.
You do. And I think, we talk about habits, right? And everyone's talked about this before. They'll say, you're getting up early because you're building habits. And I'm going to tell you, here's the most important thing about habits. It's not about building the habit of getting up early. Try not to miss this message. It's building the habit of following through on the things that you say you're going to do. That's the most important part of habitual behavior. Not getting up early, just following through on anything you say you're going to do. You can sleep till noon and be super successful. The only reason I get up early is because it kind of helps me with my intentions for the day. That's it. Am I a little bit tired sometimes later in the day? 100%. I'm just trying to be a little bit more productive. And if I get up early, no one's up and I can knock more things out. When the day starts, that list doesn't go out the window, but it's hard to knock out that list.
Listen, what did we just talk about before we got on the call? You and I are best talking. Has there been a week in 10 years we haven't talked?
No,
right? Since Miami, there has been not a time frame that probably 1 week, honeymoons, kids, whatever it might be, like we have not talked, right? But like we just said before, we were joking around. Like I can't get you on the phone. I can't get you on the phone. Like I can't, blah blah. But like realistically, what's our time in the morning is like what, from 3:30 to 7 o'clock, and then after that, everybody else has our time.
Oh yeah, and that's what it is. I understand that. And you got to be on, right? You got to be on.
But you showed me that. Like you don't understand. Like early on in business, like look how you are not like. Look how successful you are at Anatomy and how many places you were able to build and the team you're still able to build. And it's unbelievable. I've never seen it before, ever. Yeah. I've never seen more loyal following than anybody else in my life that follows you, ever in my life.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You know that.
I appreciate that, but I think I'm following them as well. And I think
but they follow you, bro. They follow you. You're a unique human, and the reason why is because you taught people how to compartmentalize their time for themselves. Because when you're done working out, at 6:30, what time's your first client? 6:30, 6 a.m.?
Yeah, it's like 6 a.m.
6 a.m., right? So that's why you work out at 3:30, because you only have from 3:30 to 6 a.m. to be Marc Megna and only Marc Megna, right? After that, you have to be Marc Megna for everybody else. And that's a whole nother human. And people don't understand that. Like, that is the hardest part of anything in life, is that like you have to change yourself to be for the Marc Megna for everybody else. They need you. Like you're their leader. Like,
I just don't want the truth. I'm going to tell you, thank you for that. Your kind words. I mean that. Thank you. My thing is I don't want to let anyone down. And when I used to come from this mindset of, man, I want to prove all these people wrong. Now it's like, there's a lot of people who actually believe in me. And the light bulb didn't go off until like the last 2-3 years. A lot of people do believe in me. A lot of people do want me to have great success. And I focus on those people and I want to prove them right. So I think that's what motivates me and helps me want to give back and fill up their bucket, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Of course, what we live for.
Yeah.
It's like how we operate. It's who we are. It's why 100%. We do things for each other, you and I. Mm-hmm. Like, we had that one conversation. I always talk about it, but you're right. I mean, it's, you want to let it, but my point is still like, you still need that time in the morning to be able to deliver and be able to make everybody else proud of you. Mm-hmm. Because if you didn't have that time, you wouldn't be able to be yourself.
True. So true. Really. So true. If you've been intertwined in this business for so long, and everyone is people are creative, and you have such a creative mind, and I'm sure you have wonderful ideas. If you could start a business like tomorrow, and it couldn't be in the same industry, same field, what business would you like to start? What business would you like to be a part of?
Um, I'm very fortunate enough that because I work on the marketing end, I get to touch a lot of different avenues of like being involved in so many different types of businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I work from healthcare to Netflix, right? Like I
Right.
work with some of the largest hospital systems to working with some of the largest e-com brands. I'm very fortunate to like put myself in those positions. Um, to be fully transparent is the food business.
Yeah.
I I'm like
Restaurant.
I would never I would run I would be I'd be the business manager of a restaurant, meaning like run the business point of I wouldn't be the day-to-day guy. um I miss being in my like I miss like I have like a thing because like I know my dad like built his business for us to be able to one day be able to come over and do something with it, and that's what my brothers there are doing right now. And hopefully, like sometime soon, I can make that happen and be a part of that. Because I think that like the love for food is it'll never go away.
Oh yeah.
But I'm
We're
also
Italian. We like to eat.
yeah,
Forget it.
exactly, yeah. I mean, me more than you, but I mean, you like to eat. You like to eat. People
I,
don't know you like to eat. People don't know that other side of Mark.
oh my God, I'm an
Um,
eater. I'm an eater,
yeah.
big time. I mean, that's my
No,
problem.
you're an.
I'm a big time eater.
What do you mean? It's your problem.
I mean, seriously.
It's
I listen. I know that I get invited to dinners because I'm going to clean up the table. I just know it. Like I'm a ringer. I eat a lot.
yeah, but you get invited by the same people because they know they're not going to eat enough, so they're going to invite you to eat everything
Yeah,
else.
exactly. I clean up the table. They're like, look, we don't want to waste this steak or pasta. Make sure Mark's there. He'll make sure it's taken
Well,
care
you
of.
also yeah, because you burn so many calories throughout the entire day that you're always hungry. Like,
Yeah, I'm in trouble when I get older. I'm just gonna have that.
there's no way. Come on, you're superhuman.
It's hard, man. I know I'm gonna be eating salads and like celery sticks to try to keep the body tight, but I won't be
Look,
able to
yeah,
because I like to eat too much. That's the problem.
listen, you'll be okay, my friend. You'll
We'll
be
see.
okay.
We'll see.
You'll be more than okay.
We're gonna be walking around that track together. I'll tell you that.
Listen, I'm there all the time. There all
I
the
know
time.
you are every morning. Tom, is there
Every morning.
anything else you would like the Magna Method audience to know about you, what you do, and like if there's one message that you want to leave them with that you think is super important, I'd really like you to share it about anything: family, business, hard work, effort. Please.
No, I mean the one thing I definitely want to like definitely express is like obviously being around like sports my entire life I've been very fortunate enough to see all different aspects of things, right? From like being a walk on to being an undrafted free agent to seeing his best friend win Super Bowls and experiencing Olympic gold medal and working with like people. But I would always tell this, like whatever you do, like one, do it with like you keep your circle tight.
Right.
Can't be friends with everybody.
Right.
Even the people that think they say they're friends with everybody and know everybody, like usually have like a small circle of people they only confine to.
That's true.
And they just because they portray that image doesn't mean they don't have, like, there's always a small circle. But like make sure that small circle has a role. I mean, especially if you're like you and I, like we can't afford not to have anybody around us that doesn't play a role on our team. Personally, I don't mean it in a bad way. I think just having that aspect is a huge thing, and knowing that because when you do have the right team around you, the truly the sky is the limit. You know, whatever you want to do, you can do. Whatever you want to create, you can create. You want like we live in a world that is able for us to we're able to do that, and I don't think you'll ever see that ever again.
Well, listen, I cannot thank you enough for the time, for your candor, for just being an open book and sharing with the audience. Tell the audience where they can find you, just in case they need today's business. Where can the listeners find you online?
Well, you can find Tom Otiano on Instagram, and then today's _ business on Instagram as well.
Today's
and
today's _ business, and please, I'm sorry.
Yeah, today's _ business at Tom Otiano and tbsmo.com.
Mm-hmm. They are the best digital marketing team. They do a great job. I've been super impressed with Tom over the years and his team, and there's a all-star team there, to say the least. So, Tom, thank you so much for being on the show. You are the man. Love you like a brother from another mother, and see you in Miami soon.
I love you too, brother. Love you too.